Hi, welcome to the True Nosh Kitchen. I am Renee and I am the owner and founder of True Nosh in Vancouver, BC, Canada. So I want to introduce to you my gluten-free dumpling mix. I make a lot of dumplings. It's one of my favorite foods to eat as a meal, as a snack. I even crave dumplings. So this is a part of like my weekly or daily cuisine, right? So dumplings are originated from Asia, and there's so many different types of dumplings. There is dim sum dumplings, you can have shumai or hagao, and there's soup dumplings, and then there's pot stickers. This recipe or this particular mix can be used for a lot of those dumplings like shumai, pot stickers, and even soup dumplings. So today we're just going to start off with a simple recipe for just a regular pot sticker type of dumpling wrapper. So in the mix there is some extra added fiber, a psyllium husk fiber, which is a soluble fiber, and it can actually help you absorb sugar a lot slower and to kind of feed your gut with the prebiotics in there. So you're gonna be eating quite a source of fiber in your dumpling wrappers, which is great because most dumpling wrappers don't have that extra added fiber like mine does. So I'm going to use about half a cup of the dumpling flour mix. It is gluten-free, which is great because my partner is celiac, and I know a lot of friends who are trying to adapt a gluten-free lifestyle, mainly because some member of their family has celiac disease or they're gluten intolerant themselves. So half a cup will give you about 18 to 20 dumpling wrappers, which is amazing. So to that flour mix, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of oil. Any type of oil is fine. You can use sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, soy oil, peanut oil, avocado oil, just any type of oil that you use to cook at home. You don't have to go and buy a specific type of oil specifically. I like to have a more neutral color for oil. If it's too dark, then your dumpling is going to be tending towards that color of the oil that you choose. Okay. And then I'm going to put some water onto my kettle for boiling, and I can't specify enough that boiling water is very important for this recipe, so don't lack and don't forget to have really hot water. Okay, so I have about 60 mils here, which is about a quarter cup. And once I have the water boiled, you want to put it into your flour mix right away. Have a spatula ready, so once the water is mixed in, you want to start stirring in the liquids. And then once the water has cooled down a little bit, then you can use your hands, okay? So I can hear it boiling, fantastic. So you see it's still boiling, and I want to have my measuring cup ready. The hot water gets measured and just poured into the mix. Once you pour it into the mix, you see the flour starts gelling a little bit, which means it starts to get a little translucent. And then you're going to use a spatula or a wooden spoon, and you're going to just stir it around and help it become a dough. All right. This should take about 2 to 3 minutes to get all that water stirred in along with the oil. Something different about a gluten-free flour mix when you mix it with dumplings, you don't add extra flour or water, you actually add some oil. So always have a little bit of oil hanging around in your working area. And once all the water has been mixed in, clean up your spatula, and you can start using your hands. And what I'm doing is to squeeze it in my palms, getting all the powdered flour mixed in so there's no lumps in my mixture. And then you just want to squeeze it all into one flour dough ball, okay? And it shouldn't take very long. The flour is already getting quite cool as you need it, and that's basically when you want to take it out of the bowl and start forming your wrappers. Okay, so that wasn't that hard. And then you can knead it extra times with your fingers. And the more you knead it, your fingers are going to get cleaner, the bowl is going to get cleaner. You want to utilize all the flour and water that you incorporated into the dough. And if the first time doesn't work, try it again, mainly because maybe your water is not hot enough. Okay. And you want to get all the powdered lumps out of here. You can see a little bit of the speckled psyllium husk in there. That's perfectly fine. The psyllium husk actually absorbs a lot of water, so this dough you can use a little bit less quick. So without the psyllium husk and without the moisture being inside the dough, you have to work really quickly. But this dough you can, save in a plastic bag or saran wrapper for up to 3 days, and you can still kind of roll it out and make dumplings or even scallion pancakes. We'll have a video on our website very soon teaching you how to make some scallion pancakes from this dough. Okay, so after it becomes like a nice lump like this, you can start rolling it out. And you want a rolling pin, or you can start by wrapping a nice wine bottle or a soy sauce bottle in saran wrap and use that as the roller. And what you want to do, this is a pretty big lump of dough, so I'm going to split it in 2 pieces, and what I'm going to do is now roll it into a cylindrical form, like this, similar to my rolling pin. And you want it a similar thickness or as your thumb, okay? Like more like a sausage. Okay, so once it becomes something like this, like a hot dog, then you can start cutting it into smaller pieces. All right. And you can do this on your working surface like that. So it's about 15 centimeters long. And for this one, you can cut it in half. And then again, another half. And then I'm going to cut this again in half, and then all of these can also be cut in half too. It depends on how big your pot stickers or dumplings are. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can rip the bigger pieces into smaller ones and consolidate them with one another. And this dough, this part is usually quite fun. You can, get your kids or other family members involved, right? These are really big pot stickers, right? So as I said before, you can kind of get about 18 to 20 small wrappers involved. So if you want to get that many, just use your judgment to get as many wrappers as possible as you can out of this guy. So with dividing all of these little nuggets, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 9, and then with this half, you probably will get 9 too. Now we have 18 dumplings in about ½ a cup of your dumpling mix. And if you want to make just your own one person dumpling, you want to make 10, then you can just half the recipe by using a ¼ cup of flour at a time, 1 teaspoon of oil, and then an 1/8 cup of boiling water, and that will give you about 9 to 10 dumplings, and it's the perfect size for one person for a meal for yourself too. All right, so each ball, then I'm going to roll into a sphere, like playing with Play-Doh, and you can, don't have to be too meticulous about getting it in a perfect circle, but obviously if it's in a nice perfect circle, it's easier to get into rolling out the dough into a nice round wrapper. So for this dough, it dries out a little bit quicker, so I want to roll it out one at a time, and once I wrap one, then I roll out one more time. Okay, so I have a little bit of the same oil as I used to mix in the dough. I want to use it on my palms as well as my rolling surface as well as the rolling pin. Okay, so you want to have extra oil lying around, and what you want to do is roll that nice ball into a sphere and then slowly using your rolling pin just roll it out, turn it halfway around and then roll it out again, and then keep rotating your wrapper until you get to a nice thin piece of round pot sticker or dumpling wrapper. Okay, you can boil these dumplings. I like to pan sear them, hence it's called pot sticker. Pot sticker just means it's going to stick nicely to the pot and get a really nice crispy bottom when you cook them. And I like that crispy bottom quite a lot. So I'm going to stick with those today. But if you don't like to pan sear, you can also boil some soup or stock and cook these dumplings and serve it with some soup. Okay, so this is going to be about the size of my palm is what I'm going to go towards for the size, and it's quite thin. You can see that you can see through and see my fingertips right in between, and you put it on your palm. It should kind of drape nicely over the inside of your palm, and that's going to give you a really nice size of a dumpling or a pot sticker. So there are now 2 wrappers that I've rolled out, and if it starts sticking to your surface, like if you're sticking it to your rolling pin or sticking to the bottom of your cutting board, you want to add a little bit more oil. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the filling, and I'm not going to be too generous because I want to show you how to do it at home so it doesn't squeeze out of your wrapper. So you want to put about a heaping teaspoon of filling into the middle of your wrapper. Because there's no gluten, this dough is not going to stretch. So you want to be careful of making any type of stretches, right? You can make a nice cannoli out of this first, squeezing the middle together, and then start making pleats. So what I have here is I'm making a pleat from one side into the middle and squeezing, and then I go next to it about 1 centimeter away and then fold it again, and then another pleat and I fold it again in the middle, and this gives me about 3 pleats, and I want to squeeze it all together nicely, and then now it becomes a nice half crescent shape, right? And then coming in from the other side, fold it again into the middle and squeeze, middle and squeeze, and then one more time so it balances out on the other side. Make sure you squeeze it quite tightly so it doesn't pop open when you cook it. And then you want to nicely see how the other side looks, and then you can mold the rest of the dumpling in place to make it look pretty. And now it's ready to be put into a steamer basket. You can also Put this now in your soup that's boiling, or you can stick it on a frying pan or a cast iron pan with a little bit of oil on the bottom. And then you can start by placing one on the bottom. So for pot stickers, they have to have oil on each of the bottom of the pot stickers in order for it to get crispy. So one down, we can do one more, and I will start cooking them on the pan, and you can see how we can serve it with some of our favorite True Nosh Asian sauces that we make out of black garlic. So with a regular wrapper, you want to use some water to wet the sides, and then this dumpling will stick together. For this one, you don't have to. You just need to squeeze harder, right? So there's enough moisture in here that will hold the dumpling together. So one more time, if you don't like the half crescent shape, we can actually just use one and put them in the middle, so the pleats. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually closing the whole dumpling in itself in the middle to make like a calzone. Okay, and then once it's like this, then I can start forming pleats from one side, folding it onto each other. And you have another way of folding a dumpling that sits on the middle and not kind of lean like a nice crescent shape. Now you have more of a upright dumpling shape, but they're both fine as long as there's a bottom that it can get crispy on the pan. These will be also a perfect dumpling. Okay, once again, I'm going to put it on the pan, and I'm going to make a few more, and then we're going to come back and teach you how to cook it on a nice cast iron pan. After all the dumplings have gone into your pan, this is a cast iron pan. I used it quite a lot, so it's oiled and seasoned, and it technically is a non-stick pan after a while, right? So that's why I can add the dumplings in the pan when it's not hot, right? If you're using a stainless steel pan or not a pan that you will stick, then you would add the dumplings on when the oil is hot. But because this is a technically non-stick pan, I turn on the heat. After all the dumplings have been spaced out nicely around the pan, I have a lid really close by, and also a little bit of water that is also close by. And once all the dumplings have developed a nice crispy bottom, you'll see once you pick it up, maybe after 5 minutes of it being heated up, you'll hear a nice sizzle. After the sizzle goes on for about 2 minutes, check the bottom of the dumpling and see if it's nice and golden brown. If it is, then you want to pour in a little bit of water to cover the bottom of the pan. Put the lid on, steam that dumpling for about 5 minutes, open the lid, allow the extra water to evaporate, and then allow the dumplings to crisp up, and then you can serve it with our True Nosh sauces that we made. We have a black garlic mushroom, black garlic, black bean ginger, or black garlic sweet potato and apple. Those are also all gluten-free and vegan. All right, so after about 2 minutes of sizzling, you want to pick one up with your fingers. Be careful, it's hot. Check the bottom. You see how nice and golden brown that is? That was a bit nice and golden brown on the bottom. This is the time you want to add water and have a lid really close by. So once the water is added, a big sizzle happens, and then you want to close the lid. You wait 5 minutes. All right, when 5 minutes is over, open the lid, let the rest of the water evaporate, and you want to turn the heat to a bit lower. And while you turn off the heat, wait another 2 minutes before you serve it up. Now it's a perfect time to go grab a nice plate that you can use for serving, and wait until all the water has evaporated, and then you can use a nice spatula and move it into your serving plate and start eating. There's 20 beautiful dumplings now with only half a cup of flour, so I wish you guys the best. This makes quite a lot of dumplings, maybe about 100, if you can, you know, use this to serve your friends and family. I would be very, very honored.